Welcoming us all into your home. Congratulations on your new home purchase.
Thank you.
This is the having sadhu sangha is the best use of our grahastha facilities. It is very, very auspicious. So, particularly during this month of Kartik. How many of you are enjoying your month of Kartik so far? Yes. So, what festivals have we celebrated so far? Govardhan Puja, Deepavali, Mahalakshmi, Gopastami coming. Let's discuss this pastime, Damodar Leela. So many beautiful pastimes of Krishna take place during this month of Kartik. It is like a power-packed. Every day is a festival, actually. So, yesterday was, in many ways, the most important festival during Kartik. And what was that?
Govardhan Puja.
Yesterday. Srila
Prabhupada's
Prabhupada's disappearance day. You might be surprised to know that of all the festivals in the year, what is the biggest festival celebrated in Sri Vrindavan Dham? Janmashtami, Gaur Purnima, Narsingha Chaturdasi, Govardhan Puja, all these festivals, and actually Srila Prabhupada's disappearance day. And we might wonder, right, that might strike us as a little bit peculiar, why we celebrate somebody's disappearance day, right? But the acharyas, their appearance and disappearance are both to be equally celebrated. It is not like the material world, like when somebody leaves our body, we lament and we become saddened, because when whatever Krishna does, it's absolute, and thus whatever his pure devotee does is also absolute. So celebrating Srila Prabhupada's disappearance day is a opportunity for us to meditate on Krishna and the instructions that Srila Prabhupada gave to all of us. Srila Prabhupada bestowed upon us the greatest of all fortune. Actually, we have no way to really contemplate how fortunate we are to have come under the shelter of Srila Prabhupada, who brought this pure philosophy in unadulterated form to all of us, but made it very accessible to us, made it digestible, easy to understand, and also joyous to apply. He established so many temples around the world so that no matter where we may be, we may go and associate with devotees, we may celebrate these festivals. And what these festivals do is they enthuse us in our spiritual journey. They give us some momentum, a push, right? We get through low points, and these festivals kind of give us a push. And Srila Prabhupada, by his causeless mercy, showed us how to celebrate each and every one of these festivals with exacting terms. They gave so much instruction and guidance so that we can get the most out of it. And, we can just wonder, if it were not for Srila Prabhupada, would we even know this Radha Damodar pastime? Were it not for Srila Prabhupada, had we have understood the importance of offering a ghee lamp during Kartik Mas? Were it not for Srila Prabhupada, would we understand even or heard one stanza of Damodar Astakam? Would we know how to celebrate and observe Govardhan Puja? Would we even know the importance of Govardhan? Radhakund, Shamkund? We have any idea of the potency of celebrating these festivals? We have no clue. But this is the gift. And of course, Srila Prabhupada taught us that all of these things are meant to give us and enthuse our process of chanting. These festivals, these experiences, we know that we have successfully observed them. If, through observation of these festivals, our chanting has become enthused, has become improved, both in quality and quantity. If that is the result, then that is the good symptom that yes, I have sufficiently and appropriately, as Srila Prabhupada intended, celebrated these festivals. Because at the end of the day, Srila Prabhupada came to give us this single message, to chant the holy names of the Lord. So we're very grateful to his contribution. And his contribution to us of Srimad Bhagavatam is like the world's treasure. So we'll read today from one verse and discuss another festival coming up, which is Gopastami. So we'll read from Canto 10, chapter 15, text number 1. Shri Shuka Uvacha Tatascha Pauganda Vyashrita Vaje Babu Vatustau Pashupala Samato Gascharyananto Sakapi Samana Padaye Vrindavanam Punyam Ativa Chakavaha. Translation. Shukadev Goswami said, when Lord Ram and Lord Krishna attained the age of Pauganda, 6 to 10, while living in Vrindavan, the cowherd man allowed them to take up the task of tending the cows. Engaging thus in the company of their friends, the two boys rendered the land of Vrindavan most auspicious by imprinting upon it the marks of their lotus feet. Purport. Lord Krishna wanted to encourage his cowherd friends, who had been swallowed by Aghasur and then stolen by Lord Brahma. Therefore, Lord decided to bring them into the palm tree forest called Talavan, where there were many delicious ripe fruits. Since Lord Krishna's spiritual body had apparently grown slightly in age and strength, the senior men of Vrindavan, headed by Nanda Maharaj, decided to promote Krishna from the task of herding the calves to the status of a regular cowherd boy. He would now take care of the full-grown cows, bulls, and oxen. Out of the great affection, Nanda Maharaj had previously considered Krishna too small and immature to take care of the full-grown cows and bulls. It is stated in the Kartika Mahatmya, this section of the Padma Puran, Shukalastami Kartiketu Smrita Gopastami Buddhahi Tad Dinar Vasudevo Bahud Gopa Purvam tu Vatsapaha. The 8th lunar day of the bright fourth night of the month of Kartik is known by our authorities as Gopastami. From that day, Lord Vasudeva served as a cowherd, whereas previously he attended the calves. The word Padai indicates that Lord Krishna blessed the earth by walking on her surface with his lotus feet. The Lord wore no shoes or other footgear, but walked barefoot in the forest, giving great anxiety to the girls of Vrindavan, who feared that his soft lotus feet would be injured. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuru Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamstra Shri Rupam Sagajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha Hey Krishna Karna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpa Turubhyascha Rupa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So, shall we discuss about Gopastami? So, Krishna loves cows. Do we need evidence that Krishna loves cows? Krishna loves cows. So, if we love cows and show favor to cows, then do we think that will please Krishna? Just like mother and father. If you render some service to mother and father, they may be pleased. But if you render some service to their children, then they become really pleased. Because the object of their affection is being pleased by you. So similarly, the object of Krishna's affection are the cows. And we may want some evidence. Anybody want some proof? Some factual evidence? We know emotionally, we know sentimentally, he loves cows. But what is the name of his spiritual abode? Go Loka. Go means?
Cow.
Loka? Abode, planet, land. Land of? Cows. Not trees, not cowherd friends, not Nanda Baba Maya Yashoda, not the gopis, not the peacocks. The land of cows. His favorite place in all of Vrindavan was Govardhan. What does Go mean?
Cow.
And Vardhan? The maintainer, the hill of cows. Govardhan. What are the names of his friends? Gopas. And what are the names of his lady friends?
Gopis.
Gopis. Are we seeing a trend? What is the name that Lord Indra bestowed upon him after the Govardhan Puja? Govinda. What does Govinda mean?
Cow.
Go means cow. Vinda means?
Parvata. That means hill.
Huh? Yeah, it means he was the giver of pleasure to the cows. Govinda. What's another name of Krishna? Laddu Gopal. What does Gopal mean? The protector, maintainer of the cows. So like this we see all over Vrindavan. Govinda, Gopal, Gopa, Gopi, Govardhan, Goloka. Cows everywhere. The dearmost to Krishna. So we'll discuss this pastime in a few minutes, but let us understand a little bit. Again, these pastimes are there to give us very practical instructions about how to find real happiness and peace in life. It is the goal we all have. And the problem is we don't know where to find it. So these festivals, they are there for festivity, they are there for prasadam, they are there to soothe the heart, but they are there to instruct our consciousness. So Krishna, we know, is very dear. The cows are very dear to Krishna. And we see this verse, Namom Brahmanya Devaya, Go Brahman Hitaya Cha. Go Brahmanya Hitaya Cha. Very important verse. And it states that Krishna is the protector of the cows and of the Brahmanas. And our Shastra gives a very clear formula that if you want to have success in society, the prosperity of a land, the prosperity of a community, the prosperity of a race is measured by just these two metrics. To the extent cows and brahmanas are protected, there will be success in society. And to the extent they are not, we will see discontent. Now let me ask you, what is the status of society? Just open one newspaper. And what do we see? Great contentment, happiness, peace around the world, everybody living cooperatively together.
No. War.
Struggle after struggle after struggle. And certainly much effort is being put by the leaders of the world to uplift society. Right? One of the main measures that global leaders put on the progress of a society is its gross domestic product, GDP growth. But we know GDP is higher than it's ever been per capita, which means we are producing more income per person than ever in the history of mankind. So is that a measure? Are we a happier society today than we were 100 years ago? Even 50 years ago? Do we have more values in society? Do we have more morals and ethics? Do we have more peace amongst citizens? Do we have less fear? So we can at least ascertain and conclusively break the idea that growth in GDP will lead to better life. Because it hasn't happened. And it's a proven fact. Just look at the volume of medications given to try to pacify the mind. Mental illness is at an all-time high. It tells us there is not peace in the heart. So, at least we know that's not the measure. And with that goes basically all of our societal norms. But our Shastra, Srimad Bhagavatam, is so wonderful because it gives us the formula. And we also have evidence that when the principles are applied, what is the result? Would we consider a society very progressive and successful if nobody is getting sick? We consider that a successful society? Yeah. If there are no crimes amongst its citizens, is that a measure of success in society? If nobody has even complaints about anything happening in society, is that a measure of success? There is no quarrel, nothing, success? Well, that exists through our Vedic principles. It's explained in Srimad Bhagavatam that when Lord Ramchandra was ruling, he was ruling so perfectly that he had an open door policy. Anybody could come and lodge a complaint. Now, what politician is willing to do that today? Can you imagine how long that line would be? It goes as far as to say that even, this is in the 9th canto Srimad Bhagavatam, that people would not even die until they were ready. Such strong rule and governance was there that it could subdue the effects of, in essence, time. So strong. And what principle Lord Ram was following? The principles he set out. Protect the cows and protect the brahmanas. See, in olden days, society was ruled by great Kshatriya kings. But they were not independent rulers. They would take decisions about what to do based on Shastra. They would consult the brahmanas who would advise, in this instance, this should be done. In this instance, this should be done. Because in Manu Samhita, in other Shastras, all the principles are laid forth. And the Kshatriyas were not ruling out of their own conviction, but on the basis of Shastra, on the basis of guidance from the Brahmanas. And the result is very clear. There was peace in society. Today we have this concept of separation of church and state, which is to separate spirituality from governance. And that's been done because of the, for intended good reasons, but due to the misapplication of some people using religion improperly. But at its fundamental core, this is why it will never work. We know from the very beginning of spiritual life, we are not this body. This body is matter. We know when the soul leaves this body, what happens to the body? Without the presence of the soul in the body, it has no function. Just like our vehicles are seated outside, do our cars drive? Until the driver is in there, there's no activity of the car. Setting aside our driverless cars now. But it's the living force within the car that allows that car. Similarly, the living force within this body, which is also a vehicle, is the soul. And our happiness, it comes from the soul. It doesn't come from the body. Just like our happiness doesn't come from our vehicle, it comes from us as the driver. So similarly, our peace and happiness, it'll not come from this bodily part. It'll come from the soul. And the soul is made up of spirit. And so if you try to govern society separating spirit, how you can find success? Doesn't work. And thus we see the situation. We can see the result right before us. So our Shastra gives us the perfect formulas. And it says, if the cows are protected and the Brahmanas are protected, society will prosper. This is the measure of progress, real progress in society. Because we have lots of technological progress, no doubt. Faster cars, faster computers, faster airplanes, better technologies, no doubt. Amazing, amazing inventions of the world put forth. But the simple question remains, what is the condition of the person behind all these machines? Have they progressed? Have they advanced as fast as all of these products have advanced? And if not, then we understand there is some break in the formula. So Krishna tells us in Srimad Bhagavatam that through the protection of cows and brahmanas, society will prosper. And this is our opportunity. It sounds so counterintuitive. It sounds simplistic. It sounds like this is like, taking us back 1,000,000 years, right? Actually, that's where there was real peace and harmony. Real happiness. So sometimes going backwards is actually going forwards. And in this case, it is certainly the case. So this opportunity for us to celebrate Gopastami is a chance to understand how to find real progress in life. And it is through applying our Vedic principles. That is how we're going to achieve it. So with that, let us talk a little bit about Gopastami. That was the heavy introduction. Just to set the stage. Now we'll have some fun and talk about some sweet pastimes of Krishna. So this pastime of Gopastami, as we read in the purport, it takes place on the 8th day of the waxing moon in the month of Kartik. So 8 days following the first moon is this coming Sunday. So that is the actual day of Monday is the actual day of Gopastami. So we'll be celebrating it at the temple on Sunday for all of us, but the actual day is this coming Monday. And this Gopastami is a very celebrated festival because Krishna is going to begin tending to the cows. So you might wonder one thing, wait a minute, isn't Krishna always tending to the cows? What's the big deal? What's the excitement of that? In the spiritual world, Krishna is constantly tending to the cows. So one feature that when Krishna appears in the material world, he appears at different intervals to perform different pastimes. But we know when he appears, the residents of the spiritual world always also come with him. And one might want to wonder why somebody would leave the land of perfection to come to the material world. That doesn't sound like a very good decision. We all made that decision, and we can try to undo that now. But why the perfected souls would do that? Because when Krishna comes here, he performs certain special pastimes that never happen in the spiritual world. So to celebrate these new rasas and pastimes, they enjoy. For example, there is no Janmashtami celebration in the spiritual world. Krishna's always there. He's always there. There is no Krishna, subduing Kaliyanag in the Yamuna. And there is no pastime of Krishna beginning to take to the cows. Because in the spiritual world, Krishna is eternally just over 15 years old. That's his age. So he doesn't have these early childhood pastimes. So to observe these early childhood pastimes, the residents of the spiritual world, they come with Krishna. And these are the very special pastimes he performs here. So this beginning of tending to the cows is something that all the residents, they have never seen before. And so it's very festive and something new and exciting. So how this began. So one thing we have to understand is that Krishna, he ages. But he doesn't age like us. This is very important to know. Krishna tells us in Bhagavad Gita, Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo veti tattvaha tyaktva punarjanma naiti mam iti sarjana. If you understand my activities and appearance, those two things, you will become liberated. Because Krishna's activities are very different from ours. So let me ask you, can any of us stop aging? Even if you tried really hard, I don't want to eat, I'm not going to eat. Will it work? We can apply some joint cream, some hair dye. If I had some, do some things to try to stop. Is it stopping aging? Simply covering up. Because we age by the force of time. Every day that elapses, we are one day older. So does Krishna age by time? He appears as a baby one day, and then the next he ages by time? We know when he first appeared in the prison house of Kamsa, he appeared in his giant, four-armed Lord Narayan form. Any baby has come out with club, gada, conch, disc, lotus, helmet, beautiful jewels, nice golden dhoti. Anyone has born in that way? So immediately we know Krishna's appearance is not like ours. Then he takes to the form of a small baby. But he grows up. Actually, in our Shastra it explains that he grows up at an exacting formula. He grows at the rate of 50% faster than a human. So by the time he is 3 in duration, he is performing the activities of a 4.5-year-old. By the time he is 5, he's a 7.5-year-old like this. So even his timeline. But he progresses, he changes his form by his will. Today I'll grow a little bit. Today I'll become a little bit stronger to show my mom, now I can carry this big heavy pot and give her some happiness. Saying, oh, my young boy is growing up nicely. It is by his choice. Because we know, in just a few days old, he was able to take down the giant demon Putana. How a baby can do that? Because Krishna is always eternally absolute. But he chooses to take different forms. So in this way, Krishna is constantly growing up in Vrindavan. But let us not think he is growing up by the passage of time. He is growing up by his own desire to give variety, new pastimes to all of his devotees. So we should clearly understand this philosophical point. Because if we do as Krishna says, it will qualify one for liberation. To recognize we are not like the Supreme Personality of Godhead in that way. So this Gopastami comes at the end of Krishna's early childhood and the beginning of his Pauganda age. So each 5-year segment of Krishna is broken up. So his initial age has elapsed and now he has reached his age of Pauganda. And the cowherd men are discussing that they decided to promote Krishna. Krishna's getting a promotion. So this pastime is very sweet because there was some lamentation. Mother Yashoda is sitting with the wife of Abhinanda. This is Nanda Maharaj's brother's wife. And they're lamenting and she is seeing that Mother Yashoda is a little bit down. I said, Mother Yashoda, why you are down? She says, my Krishna, he's growing up now. He used to let me feed him, and now he wants to eat by himself. He used to let me bathe him, but now he's a little bit shy and wants to take bath on his own. He used to let me, dress him, but now he wants to show that he's grown up again. So now all of my, different activities is he's growing up and I'm losing and I'm feeling unhappy. Sometimes mothers feel this, right? As your child grows up, oh, I miss those early days. So like this, Mother Yashoda was lamenting. And then she said, and now he is expressing a desire to go and tend to the cows. And this was devastating to Mother Yashoda. You might wonder why. Why would tending to the cows would be devastating to Mother Yashoda? Because up to this point, he was Vatsapal. He was taking to the calves. He was managing the calves. And managing the calves meant that he would be always in and around Nanda Maharaj's palace. He would not go very far deep into the forest. Which means Mother Yashoda could always be at least within eyesight of her beloved Krishna. But if he were to take to the cows need to go for grazing into the forest, deep into the forest. And now she would be separated from her beloved Krishna. And this thought was devastating to her heart. And she thought, I cannot let it happen. At the same time, Nanda Baba is speaking with his brothers. As I mentioned, he had 5 brothers. Abhimanda, Sanananda, Nandana, Upananda, and Nanda. He was the middle of 5 brothers. And he was asking his brothers that, hey, Krishna is not, I see he's acting very jovially and casually and joking with all of you, but with me now he's taking a very serious tone. Sometimes giving me a little bit, looks of, cross-eyed looks. You know how kids do that, right? When they're not happy, they give you that look. And you're like, where did that come from? Particularly the first time it happens. So Nanda Baba now is saying, well, Krishna is giving me these looks and he's not jumping in my lap and eating from my plate anymore. And, but I see he's interacting with all of you in this way. What is the cause of this change in behavior, this discrepancy? So Upananda is explaining, Sanananda is explaining that, Krishna now is growing up. And it's time. And Nanda Baba said, time for what? It's time that he take to herding the cows. And Nanda, no, he's too young. He's careless. He doesn't pay attention. He'll get lost. No, he's too young. Like when fathers think their child's about to start driving, and it's like, oh, no, they cannot drive. No way. They're not mature enough. They'll make mistakes. It's like this. Nanda Baba is feeling Krishna's not ready for this. And the brothers explain, that's why Krishna is unhappy with you. Because you don't think he's ready. But now it's time. So Nanda Maharaj becomes a little bit encouraged and discusses with Mother Yashoda. Oh, shall we let him take to the tending of the cows? And Mother Yashoda is no. Nanda Maharaj is no. But of course they knew that time was inevitable. Because this is a rite of passage. There were many reasons, our acharyas give many reasons why Krishna was going to take to the tending of the cows. One of the reasons was that Krishna came, he says, Pranitranaya sadhanam vinashaya chadushkratam, that to destroy the miscreants. So we know one of his pastimes in Vrindavan is that he kills demons. Not in a way like we kill enemies, but he has this transcendental pastime of destroying the demons. But the demons knew one thing, that many of them, they could not come so close to Nanda Baba because Mother Yashoda was there. Mother Yashoda was there. But Krishna knew that it was time for him to go deep into the forest. And there, every day he would kill 2 demons. One before lunch and one before coming home. This was his daily routine. They would keep time based on this. As soon as first demon, must be lunchtime. And then as soon as the second one, time to go home. It was like clockwork. But this could only happen deep into the forest. So for this reason, one of the reasons that Krishna began to take to this process of wanting to go to tend to the cows. One other reason, there are many, I'll give a few, is that every part of Vrindavan is a spiritual personality, potency. And getting close to Krishna is not so easy. So in the forests of Vrindavan, there were many great rishis and munis who had done great austerity and tapasya just to be like a blade of grass so that Krishna's transcendental feet would bless them. Or to be a tree in the forest so that they could give some shade to Krishna. Or to be a beautiful rock that would be the source of the boys climbing on top of and having some fun. And so like this, the great rishis and munis had taken positions all over Vrindavan. And they were waiting for their turn to render some seva to Krishna. But if he was just tending to the calves, that opportunity was never going to manifest. So to fulfill the desires of these great, great devotees, Krishna also decided to take to this pastime of tending the cow, so that he could go into the forests and do this activity. And the trees, Krishna says that, oh Balaramji, look, these trees are all bowing down to you because they were heavy with so many fruits. They were like bent over. And Krishna saw as they were bowing down, but they were actually bowing down to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Another reason the boys, we know when boys get together, one of their pastimes is they like to make fun of each other. Where that tendency comes, everything we see, it originates in the spiritual world. This joking and making fun of each other, it originates in the spiritual world. So the cowherd boys are telling Krishna, your parents don't trust you to be taking care of the cows. You must not be mature enough. Kids make fun. And Lord Balaram says, that's not true. Don't talk about Krishna like that. Krishna is not the son of Nanda Baba and Mother Yashoda. What? How you can say that? He says, you show me. Krishna here is black. Maya Yashoda and Nanda Baba are both fair-skinned. How he can be the son? That's why he's not able to go to the cows. Then one other boy says, I heard that actually Krishna is not the son. That in one tree there was a hole. And there was a black baby in the hole. And Nanda Baba was walking by and he heard the baby crying. And he took that baby that was black and came, and that's Krishna. He is not the one. And one other boy, that's not true. Krishna bought him in the marketplace for some wheat in the farms like this. They are making fun of Krishna, giving him all kinds of reasons. So Krishna says, I'll prove to them that I am the son of Nanda Baba Maharaj. I will go out and tend to Nanda Maharaj's 900,000 cows. So this debate was happening. And like this, if you want a few more, one sweet as time. So, see, we have language, right? We are speaking in a language. But animals have language too, right? You see birds, they chirp to each other. Squirrels, they'll squeak to each other. They have language also. But Krishna speaks all languages. We may speak some few languages, but Krishna speaks all languages. So, two things Krishna did. So one, when Krishna was enjoying with the calves, what the calves would do, they would come home and they would talk to the cows, their mothers. Say, oh, today Krishna did this and today Krishna did that and he yanked our tail and we played and he made a big funny drama and we all were laughing. And all kinds of stories would come. And how do you think the cows felt? Oh, when we'll get this opportunity. When we will get this opportunity to be with Krishna. The cows are so lucky. And so the cows had a strong desire that they wanted to go out to the forest with Krishna. So actually, what they did, the cows did, the brothers of Nanda Maharaj said, now our hand is being forced. Krishna must take to the cows. Because what happened? The cows went on strike. All the cowherd men were taking the cows out and they wouldn't move. They blow the horn, they raise the stick, nothing, they wouldn't move. They said, we'll not go until Krishna takes us out. Because they went on strike. And so now the brother said, we have no choice. The cows have made their stance and they're not moving. So now Krishna must take to them. Well, like this, there are many other reasons our acharyas give, but many different angles of vision of why and how this happened. So, Nanda Baba finally relented and said, okay, let us arrange. So like anything, what they did not make the decision themselves. This is the way one makes decisions. They decided they have to consult the Brahmanas and think, okay, what is the best way to let Krishna begin this process? How we should initiate his tending to the cows. So they consulted and they gave that on this 8th day in the month of Kartik, in the waxing moon, this is the auspicious day for Krishna to begin his tending to the cows. So, Nanda Baba said, okay, this 8th day it is, we'll do it. But this was a very important day. So they planned a 3-day festival. You know, like we know, mothers, when their son graduates kindergarten, they have a kindergarten graduation. Then they have like a middle school graduation. Then high school, like this, so many festivals. So this is like a big graduation for Krishna. He was graduating from Vatsapal to now Gopal. He was going to take care of the cows. So big, like whole of Vrindavan was in the festive mood. And big 3-day festival took place. So many celebrations, wonderful prasadam, and joyous occasion, preparing Krishna and Balram to begin tending to the cows. This is not some, ordinary 3-day festival. And on the final day, it was time, and Mother Yashoda was in extreme anxiety. Everybody was in bliss, except for Mother Yashoda. She was thinking that what I'll do, I'll just stare at the sun. Now, why she would stare at the sun? She was just going to watch the sun cross the sky. Because when the sun was up, Krishna was going to be gone. And when he would return? When the sun would set. That this will be my activity. And I'll be just wondering what he's doing now. Did he eat his lunch? I hope he didn't climb too high on that tree. I hope that the boys have taken proper rest after lunch. Did they drink some water? This will be the anxiety of Mother Yashoda. And she'll just watch the sun and waiting for Krishna to come back. So she was in great anxiety. She was also in anxiety that, as we read a little bit in the purport, that the Lord wore no shoes or other foot gear, but walked barefoot in the forest, giving great anxiety. So Mother Yashoda is thinking that how my Krishna is going to go out into the forest where there are thorns, rocks, unfamiliar territory, and his soft, tender feet might become pierced. So she made 2 very nice pairs of shoes for Krishna. And she gave them to Krishna and said, Krishna, these you can wear tomorrow when you go out on your herding. And what Krishna said? How I can wear shoes Mother Yashoda said, you just put them on. What do you mean? How do you wear shoes? You're such a big boy. You can go out. You just put them on. And he said, how I can wear shoes? I am the servant of the cows. I am their servant. And do my cows wear shoes? He said, if you want me to wear shoes, no problem. But first the cows have to wear shoes. Now we've done this math previously, but let's do it again. How many cows Nanda Maharaj had? 900,000. Times is how many? 30. 3,600,000 shoes would be needed. Mother Yashoda would be busy. So Mother Yashoda was in great anxiety that Krishna was not going to wear the shoes. But who was ecstatic? Who was ecstatic? Mother Earth, Bhumi Devi. She was ecstatic. Why? Because Krishna's lotus feet were going to decorate her entire form. She was in ecstasy, thinking, I will get Krishna's lotus feet all over me. What great fortune I have. But then Mother Bhumi became a little bit sad, and she thought, oh no. This is the mood of a devotee. She thought, wait a minute. On my body, on my surface, there are thorns. There are sharp objects. And yes, Krishna's feet will get hurt. See, the mood of a devotee is not, oh, my ecstasy that I want Krishna's feet on me. I want this, I want that. It's what will make Krishna happy. So she was lamenting that actually Krishna may become hurt by my form. Better he not walk on me. She was ready to give that up. The devotee always is thinking, what will give Krishna pleasure? Not what service I can do, but what service Krishna wants me to do. That is the mood of a devotee. What service Krishna wants me to do. So Mother Bhumi is thinking. So then she devises a great plan. And what she does? She gets all of Nanda Baba's cows together in the middle of the night. And she has them trample all the paths that Krishna is going to walk every day. And they grind every stone, every pebble, every thorn into the finest of dust. So that all the walking paths are like Krishna walking on plush pillows. This is devotional service. When our first plan is thwarted, we go to the next and to the next. With great determination, we stay committed. And so in this way, Mother Bhumi prepared the whole land of Vrindavan to be the perfect place to receive Krishna's footprints. And Krishna's footprints are so valuable, so important, that whenever Krishna made a step in Vrindavan, nobody would disturb that footprint. You know, when many people are walking, right? What happens in the snow or something you see, right? After some time, the footprints become indiscernible because everybody is done. But Krishna's walking, and not one of his footprints is been disturbed. Now, let me fast forward to one pastime, one part of the story to explain how significant this is. So when Krishna was about to begin his first tending to the cows, he performed the worship of the Brahmanas. So his father and they said, now you worship the Brahmanas, and he did some puja. And then he began to worship the cows. And he washed the feet of Nanda Maharaj's cows. He fed them sweet chickpeas, decorated them very nicely. And then Nanda Baba gave him one jeweled stick. Of course, Krishna never needed the stick. All he would do is play on his flute, and the cows would go. So Krishna was ready. Everybody was excited. This big moment. Krishna, for the first time, is going into the forest. He's feeling big and proud. Watch me take charge of these cows. And so he calls out to the cows to move. Nothing happens. He calls out again. Nothing happens. Now he's getting embarrassed. It's kind of like when we started driving. Everybody's watching us back out of the driveway and we hit a car. Right? Like something like this type thing happens. And he's like, what's going on? And the cows tell him, you think you are, we are your servant. But you think that I am your servant. We are your servant. We'll not go until you go in front. Krishna was in the backside. But they were not going to move until Krishna led them in from the front. So then Krishna goes to the front of the herd. And he makes his call. And the cows start to follow him. Now think of this. They're going in the footsteps. Or now who's in front? Krishna. He's making footprints. And what's behind him? How many feet? 3.6 million. We just did the math. Not one footprint of a cow ever stepped on Krishna's footprint. This is how valuable his feet were. Even when the wind would blow, the wind would not blow sand into the footprint. The wind would go around Krishna's foot, but would not go in. And these footprints are eternally present, still to this day, in Sri Vrindavan Dham. We may not see them with our materially ointed eyes, but they are still present. They are eternal gift. And that's why in Nectar of Instruction, Srila Rupa Goswami says that higher than Vaikuntha is Sri Vrindavan Dham here in the material world. Why? Because in Vaikuntha, Krishna never steps foot. But here, barefoot, he has imprinted all of Vrindavan with his lotus footprints. And thus, it is even superior to Vaikuntha Loka. So these footprints are no ordinary. And all living entities, still to this day, worship them. So this is the land of Vrindavan. So Krishna went into the forest and herding the cows. And boy, the cowherd boys were ecstatic. They were excited. Why they were excited? They said, Jiva Goswami and Gopala Champu writes that very sweetly. He writes that the cowherd boys were ecstatic because this was the first time that they were not under the watch of their parents. And how he compared the watch of the parents? He said under the iron chains of the eyes of the parents, right? So like when a child is under the eyes of the parents, they might as well be in iron chains. They cannot do what they want. But as soon as they are out of sight, the kids go and have some real fun. So now the cowherd boys were excited. No more chains. They could go and do whatever they wanted. And so like this, they were ecstatic. But Mother Yashoda was so worried. She positioned everybody, Balaramji in front of Krishna, Subal on the back side, Dama on the right side, someone on the left side. Everybody was in strategic formation to protect Krishna. How long do you think that formation lasted? Not very long, right? As soon as they were out of sight, the kids did. So this was a very festive occasion. All the cowherd boys were ecstatic. Krishna had such a deep relationship with the cows. He loved the cows so much that when the cows were thirsty, he would feel thirsty. And when the cows were satiated, he would feel satiated. It was so much love that he was experiencing what the cows would experience. How close and tight he was with them. He would, Nanda Maharaj had how many cows again? 900,000. He had names for every one of the cows. And he would call out each cow. He would sit himself atop a tree and he would call out each cow and he would embrace that cow. Each and every one. Now we might think, 900,000, how long that would take. This is the transcendental potency of Krishna. He can engage with everybody simultaneously. But he'll not miss anyone. Each and every one of the cows felt that special one-to-one bond with Krishna. Such a sweet relationship. So, anyways, it's getting late. So, maybe tomorrow we'll discuss more pastimes of Krishna. We'll discuss how Srimati Radharani came to the cowherd group. That or on Sunday. But this is the importance of Gopastami. And Gopastami is very important because it gives us the indicator that this protection of cows, unless the cows are protected, will not have success in society. We are fully dependent on the Supreme Personality of Godhead for our existence. We cannot take even one breath without the blessings of the Lord. And if we go so far as to give harm to His beloved cows, are we convinced He loves His cows? And how we can have success? You know, how you can please a mother and father if you give trouble to their child. You may give mother and father all kinds of gifts, all kinds of glories, glorify them, everything. But you give a little bit of trouble to their child, they'll think favorably of you. So without protecting the cows, we have no hope to please Krishna. And without pleasing Krishna, we have no hope to find our real happiness and peace that we are searching for. So this is the means. And through our Vedic principles and formulas, we'll find it. So we hope that all of us will take to this process. And the primary means of taking to this process is to chant the holy names of the Lord. Harinam, 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 Eva Kevalam, Kalo, Nashteva, 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 Gatirnita. By chanting of the holy names, one can be delivered from all the pangs of material existence. It is the only way, the only way, the only way. So, let us take this as an opportunity to enthuse our chanting so that we can make progress in spiritual life and thus find the real peace and happiness we are searching for. And we can relish these pastimes of Krishna with His beloved cows to give us some inspiration and motivation. Okay? Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gopastami Mahotsav ki jai. Any discussion, comments, questions, doubts? Yes.
Why cow needs to be taken to the forest?
Why?
Why cow needs to be taken to the forest? It should be in the vicinity of people, correct? Not
No, you have to take cows. Why? Because they need grass to eat. And if you know, like cow protection, you have to rotate pastures. You cannot, if the cows eat in the same pastures, they'll basically kill the grass. You have to regrow. So every day they would rotate and they would go to different forests. Because how many cows Krishna had?
9,000.
That's a lot of. You can graze approximately 2 cows per acre. That is the modern day formula, approximately. So how many acres you would need at that point? You need lots of grass. So Krishna would take the cow herd to different forests. Of course, he's also performing many different pastimes. He went to the forest to reciprocate with all those great rishis and munis who had done great tapasya to render service also. So for multifaceted reasons, but also from a cow protection standpoint, you have to graze them in places where grass is plentiful when you have such a large herd like Nanda Maharaj had. Thank you. Any other questions or comments?
Prabhuji,
Yes.
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he went to the ecstasy, is it in the Vrindavan forest or in Nilanchal forest?
Everywhere.
Along with the, especially on the cows. Then he was speaking to that and then he started hugging and playing with them.
I'm just trying to recall. I don't remember that pastime. You remember that pastime?
What is the first?
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with the cows? I don't remember that pastime.
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with the cows?
Yeah. I don't remember. It surely have. I don't know. I don't know. Huh?
I'm thinking because I've also heard about it.
Yeah, I don't know.
He never goes out herding the cow.
No.
He's
Yeah.
loving them. You know. That pastime is I don't know.
I remember.
I have a picture, like a diagram of the cow where the lokas and all the universe is inside of the cow. Like each part of the cow has like Krishna loka and
Yes.
Brahma loka and like it's all separated. All these different places are actually inside of the cow.
Yeah, the science of the cow is very deep and profound. Even all the devatas are represented by different parts of the cow. So it's very intricate. Again, the cow is our mother, right? Without cow's milk, child doesn't grow. Like that's why she's one of our 7 mothers. Is the cow. So very, very important, and that's why we have to be very careful to protect them. You know, slitting the throat of a cow is the most heinous and horrific of things we can do, and that's why we see the tragedies we see around us. It is nothing but a result of the lack of this protection. So we should all do what we can to protect. You know, we may wonder, well, what can I do? I'm not a farmer. I don't have the ability. That is true. But what you can do in our practical circumstance is to share this importance of cow protection, to share the knowledge, so that these cows will stop being sent to the slaughterhouses. It's heartbreaking, but that's the reality. So our opportunity is to, we may think, well, I can't do anything. Well, no, we can. We can.
To what degree do we share?
To the degree that we can, but the facts are the facts. Sometimes the hard facts sting, but that's the reality. Sometimes we can't because it'll push someone away. But, if we cannot share that, we can share by engaging in eating prasadam, purifying the heart. Because when the heart purifies, this inclination to do any activity that's not good for us automatically goes away. Right? So Prabhupada, when he came to preach, he was preaching to people who were fully, eating meat and eating all that. He said, no problem. What he did, he just filled them with prasadam and the holy names. And the heart purified. And from that, it naturally, so sometimes it's not necessarily directly, but through spreading this mission, spreading this knowledge, we can protect the cow. So don't think about it in just direct terms. Oh, I don't have land to protect cows. No, we are all in the mood of cow protection. It is essential. But by spreading this consciousness, naturally, cows will then be protected. Who would have the heart to harm if we had some consciousness of who I am, who is Krishna, and what is my relationship? So that's our opportunity.
So can can we give prasad to those who eat non-veg?
Of course, that's the best. Just like, can a doctor give medicine to somebody who's very sick? Yeah, the medicine works even more, right? If I'm a little bit sick, it'll help. But if I'm very sick, so yes, the prasadam is so purifying, it can be given to anybody, even to the animals. You know what happens when somebody takes prasad, even an animal takes prasad? They're guaranteed a human birth in their next life. Even they don't know what they're taking. You know, we have all these holiday parties in our offices and things like that. Take prasad. Oh, I don't work with India, I work with America. No problem. Take cookies. Offer to the Lord. Everybody who doesn't like cookies, who doesn't like cakes, offer something. Fruits. Whatever, something. Yeah, so anybody can take. Nobody is disqualified. See, Krishna, when he did Govardhan Puja, he performed Govardhan Puja. He said, you feed the brahmanas. And after you said, he says, you feed everybody, including even the dog eaters. We know in India, the dog eaters are the lowest in society. He said, you even feed them. Krishna is so loving. He doesn't disqualify anybody from his mercy. So yes, we can be very freely, and actually that pleases Krishna even more. That even pleases Krishna more. We may not be able to tell them this is sanctified food, because they may not be. No problem. Still the effect is there. Yes?
Which is it tough to have a cow at the temple?
Yeah. There are city ordinances that don't allow farm animals. So that's like the exacting practicality. Again, due to loss of consciousness of government society, they put these ordinances. But yeah, so we have to comply. We have to comply. But what we can do, again, keep spreading this knowledge, keep protecting. We have to cut off the demand for cow, meaning eating. If we cut off the demand, supply will automatically follow. It's basic microeconomics. So that is our opportunity. It may not be practical for us to take a herd of cows. That's okay. But that does not release us from our responsibility to protect the cows. We just have to find how we can do it in our current circumstance.
How to teach that for the new generation?
First, we teach the old generation. If the old generation understands it and practices it, then the new generation will follow. Honestly. We learn always from somebody. We don't invent anything our own. Where a child learns to smoke a cigarette? From some prior generation. Where a child learns to use some bad words? They're not born with that. They learn it. So how to teach this next generation? We have to first own it ourselves. If we own it ourselves, then naturally the future generations will follow. And that is why I said it is only through a spiritually centered life. Look, we are spirit soul. Without spirit in the center of our life, how we can find success? It doesn't work. If I apply automotive principles to myself, will it work? No, I'm not the automobile. I'm not the car. If I apply bodily principles to myself, it's not going to work because it's not who I am. So this is our opportunity. But we as the older generation, I wouldn't call anybody old, but the older generation, we have to have conviction ourselves and practice with steadfastness. And if we do, then of course others will follow. And if you want to really enhance, you bring your children to the temple. Every Sunday we have Sunday school where we teach these principles to children. we bring them into this consciousness from a very early age, and these principles become natural part of life. Okay. Thank you. Any other questions, comments?
Just to understand why only cow. Why what's special about cow or
I just gave a whole guy. Krishna loves them.
Yeah, reason? Any specific reason?
He loves them. They're very sweet. He loves cows. That's it. He loves his cows. Doesn't mean he doesn't love the birds and the bees and the peacocks and... You know how Krishna... I'll tell one. You know who's the worst player of hide and go seek? Krishna. We wonder how he should be the best, right? He can go far, far away. He can go anywhere. How he can be the worst player? Why he's the worst player? Because, see, all the living entities in Vrindavan, some beautiful verses in 10th canto Srimad Bhagavatam, speaking about the bumblebee. And how the bumblebee, we see a bee and we get scared, right? Why? Because they'll sting us. But a bee stings out of fear or envy. But in spiritual world, there's no fear or envy. So the bees don't sting. But what they do is they sing. Zzz. And that singing for us is zzz. But for Krishna, they are singing to Krishna. So anywhere Krishna goes, he has a garland. And there are bees buzzing around them. And that is like the most sweetest music to Krishna. So when Krishna goes to play hide and seek and he's hiding, what do all the cowherd boys look for? The bees. They hear the bees and they immediately find Krishna. Because all the bees, they just flock to Krishna. So Krishna loves all living entities. He loves everyone. He has a special rasa with the peacocks. What do? They see him, they dance for him. They dance for him. Okay? The cuckoo birds, they make beautiful sounds. Right? I told you the trees, what do? They bow, offering their wonderful fruits to him. So all living entities are dear to Krishna. But of course he has these special relationships with those like the cows. So don't think, oh, he loves the cows and doesn't love some. No, he loves everyone. They're all his creation. Any other? Nice.
Is that the reason why when we are offering up prayers and we are doing yoga, we have Nitya Krishna and Govinda? Is that because importance to Brahmanas and the cows has to be in that offering too?
Yeah, that prayer is glorifying Krishna, right? Namo Brahmanya, I'm offering my obeisances. To who? Who is the Go Brahmanya? Hitaya. Hitaya means to protect. He's a protector of the cow. So we're glorifying Krishna. When you glorify somebody, you give some of their qualities, some of their characteristics, right? We glorify their stance. So we're glorifying Krishna as the protector of the cows and the Brahman. Or we can say it otherwise, we are defining who Krishna is. He is the protector of the cows and the Brahmanas. So that is why that verse is spoken in general when we are making offerings of bhoga to Supreme Lord. Yeah.
One way that we are, as you mentioned, so one way that we can do for protection of the cows is directly and indirectly, even when we are preaching Krishna consciousness, we are getting more people coming from Bhakti Viksha. That's one way.
Huge.
You are actually kind of being a part in the process.
Huge. Right? Huge amounts of cow protection is done that. Why? Because the heart purifies. The idea of using cow becomes... And there are small ways in our own life. You know, amazing technology. Like we want to use technology, use technology. You can buy vegan shoes now. You know, you can buy actually full dress shoes that are vegan. Vehicles now come fully vegan. You know, in small ways, you know. I don't need a leather wallet. I can use some cloth wallet. Right? These small things, they mean a lot to Krishna. Why? Because I'm trying. I'm making some effort to remove. What is leather? It is the skin of a cow. Right? So we can seek to, remove that from our... Because in India, we also have some leather, right? But what happened? Those are all from the naturally dyed cows. But not now. Now, because of greed for money, we don't wait for them to die naturally. What do? Because we have greed. Right? But in olden days, they also used leather. But they used it very carefully. But now we cannot. So we can do our part to abstain. And the beauty of the technology with all these synthetic materials is we can do. You can go on Zappos and type in vegan dress shoes, vegan this, vegan that. You get all kinds of amazing product. Really good product. So these are the ways in which we can practically ourselves, do our part. But of course, spreading this message is the most powerful, because if the heart purifies, the desire will subside. As I said, nobody is free from the opportunity to protect cows. Just because we may not have a stick in our hand, a turban on our heads, and be a farmer, that doesn't mean we cannot be fully engaged in the protection of the cows. So do our part, whatever we can do. Yeah. Shall we sing Damarastakam and offer Gina? Thank you much. Srila Prabhupada ki, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki, Grahantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Shri Gopastami Mahotsav ki.